Aloha and welcome to Reiki Riches Full Moon Spotlight, where we celebrate the unity and diversity of Reiki practitioners and the infinite ways Reiki enriches our lives. I'm your host, Taylor Norris, and today's episode features Stephanie Lyra Lin. Stephanie Lyra Lin is a New Earth Wayshower, Reiki Master, starseed empath, and lover of humanity and our planet. She integrates ancient wisdom into her modern spiritual coaching practice, where she empowers people to embody their true selves through self-inquiry, emotional balancing, ancestral healing, and unleashing their natural joy and creativity. Thank you for being here today, Lyra.
Thank you, Taylor.
So, diving right in, I would love for you to tell us, how did you come to find Reiki? How did you discover Reiki?
I believe it was in 2013. Yeah, 2013. I was living in Taiwan and I was basically at the beginning of my spiritual awakening, just a lot of things opening up, being guided to a lot of teachings that I had never heard before. One of them was I watched Joseph Campbell's Power of Myth, and that just like blew me away completely. And then I heard about Carl Jung and shadow work, and I just started listening to different music, and I started moving my body and like dancing a lot more, like in my own little studio apartment in Taiwan. And these shifts just started leading me to new things. And I believe that one of the new things was Reiki. Um, and it was just instant. I didn't like research it or anything. I just knew that a few months later, I was going to be going back to New York for the summer. And I just looked up who's in New York that could transmit Reiki to me, that I could learn Reiki from. And it was this woman who her style is so different than my style, but that's who was there. And it was great, and I started using it pretty much right away. I later moved to Israel not that long after I got attuned to Reiki level 1, and I just started offering it to people in Israel. Yeah, that's how I came in touch with Reiki.
So you just heard about it, or did you have a session or anything like that?
I don't think I had a session. I don't think I had a session. I think I just learned about it on the internet on my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you went back to New York, and then you received the attunements. Did you receive like a training like in the techniques as well? Like it was a full.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 5-hour days, like maybe one Friday or Saturday, and then another Friday or Saturday, something like that.
What was the lineage of that training?
I believe it was Usui, just, and she was very much working in hospitals for many, many years. So she was not very into like spiritual language. She actually didn't even like the word energy. She was like, I don't
Mm.
know what people talk about when they say energy. And I think it's because she had to present Reiki in a very certain kind of way for it to be accepted into hospitals, because she was really working with hospitals like Presbyterian Hospital and other like big hospitals. Mhm.
So how did she describe it even?
I don't remember. I just remember being really confused, like that. I was like, why doesn't she like the word energy? And like what I actually don't remember what word she used to describe this, but she was clearly like a Reiki master and like really knew the power of it. And she would tell stories of, her getting injured and like putting her hands on. And she was just very, different than my style of talking about Reiki and spiritual things. Yeah, I remember she was always like, just know hands on, Reiki is flowing. Hands off, okay, you're not doing Reiki. Hands on, Reiki's flowing. Hands off, That's it. Like she was very much like almost like militant about it. But it was cool. I think that was a nice introduction, you know. And she was a very good teacher. Like we really practiced on massage tables with each other, and she was really specific about the hand placements. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I love
And I
that.
later had other teachers that were more resonant with me, but that was my introduction. And then, you know, a lot of my development as a Reiki practitioner was just practicing on people, sharing it with people.
So after that training, you moved to Israel and you got right into practicing, giving sessions and
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I just really wanted to share with people. So right away, I was like, I just learned Reiki. You know, does anyone want a free session? And I think I had like my first 5 or 7 people just, you know, practicing. Yeah. And then I started, you know, I was also doing coaching, but then I created another offering called Reiki and a Reading, which was in person Reiki, you know, a little bit of talking, then Reiki, and then doing a card reading using like oracle cards. And that was a really nice session. And then I recreated it virtually after I moved back. Yeah.
yeah, so nice. Well, were there any myths or like limiting beliefs you had to
Yeah.
overcome in order to even be open to Reiki initially?
Hmm. For me, not so much because I had already been steeped in Buddhism for a long time, both in the practitioner realm, like in the Chinese Buddhist community since I was little, and also studying it academically. Yeah, I was getting my PhD at Columbia in the religion department studying Buddhism, and I was also living in Taiwan, connecting with Buddhist communities, and there was a lot of spiritual talk, like we really acknowledge the non-physical realm. So it was not really new to me. So there wasn't much there as far as not believing. It was more just trying to understand, like, okay, what is this system, you know, and how does it work? And I think also because it's, you know, has roots in Japan, some of it energetically I felt was quite resonant with me, you know, just the idea of lineage, the idea of attunement and transmission. That's very strong in the Buddhist tradition as well. And they call it empowerment sometimes, you know, from a guru to a student. So all that was kind of known, familiar to me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's reminding me of my path as well with coming from Buddhist practice and the transmissions and like yeah, taking I didn't ever, well, I did take some vows, but like that was kind of like already normalized
Right.
within, yeah, my psyche and the present life. And I'm sure, as I've remembered many other lifetimes, like the idea of an attunement, like really isn't that crazy
Yes.
coming from certain contexts and
Yes.
backgrounds. But for others, it's like, wait, isn't it just like a class you put the hands on and there's
Right.
like this whole other component that's like such
Mhm.
a fundamental and I think can be a very different element of a training or a new skill
Mhm.
somebody's developing that sounds like for you it was just like yeah like that Reiki was
Mhm.
calling you and you're just like yeah okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And now I'm remembering what my first teacher said about energy. It's not that she didn't believe in energy, obviously. She was just like, but everything is energy anyway. So we need to be more specific when we talk about Reiki. That's what her thing was, which makes sense given she was speaking to like doctors and nurses and couldn't be so broad, you know, in her language.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a factor too, because it's like working with Reiki, like it means something very specific. It's not just working just prana or just chi or just ki, even. Like it is a very specific
Yeah.
frequency. And then like there's so many different little specific like rays of it, with different symbols and everything too, that yeah, I totally can kind of understand why she would be experiencing difficulty with that word. Yeah, because
Mhm.
everything's energy, right?
Mhm.
Literally. Yeah. Well, if you could, what were some of those like initial experiences like? Do any highlight for you in your memory of like something particularly profound in your early practice?
Well, I'm not thinking of anything particularly profound, but it was a way that people could could have a permission slip to relax their nervous system and relax their body and drop into this like more yin space, more open and receptive space. So that's what I'm remembering, like about what it was like when I first started sharing Reiki with people. It was just a way to support people in a whole different way than at least most modern Western people were used to. And I still feel that way. I still feel that's probably one of the like key powers of it.
Yeah, could you speak to the value of that? Maybe for someone who,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, who's not relaxing, or maybe, like our culture is very like go, 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 do, and like yeah, how that more yin and like very relaxed state can actually have a lot of value in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it would be part of a person's like retraining to relax, like to um, bring back that feminine state of being. And so, if they go to a Reiki session, it's just another way for them to open up in a different way. And I'm also thinking like, okay, then what makes it different from like getting a massage? Because massage is very common in the West. But I think often it just has a different tone. I almost can't explain it. Like there's something about Reiki that encourages people to even more suspend the mind, even more suspend the idea of like linear linear goal, linear orientation. And plus it's Reiki. So like Reiki just I don't know, it's just so powerful. I can't quite even put it into words. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the intelligence of it is
Mm-hmm.
what is part of what's so unique is like,
Yes.
massage, you're like really relying on the practitioner's skill.
Yes.
And then with Reiki, there is practitioner skill,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And I think that can be developed infinitely, but
Mm-hmm.
like it works for, when you first got your attunements and you started working on clients, like hardly knowing much
Yeah.
at all beyond the training. It
Yeah.
works from that moment all the way till now. You've been
Yeah.
a Reiki master for, going on a decade now.
Yeah. Reiki practitioner. Yeah. Reiki master, I think it's since 2019. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That's definitely a key difference. Like we're the conduit for Reiki to move through us. And so the person receiving in a way is getting an experience of it's probably like for some people a mind expanding experience to like open up to something beyond what is known and beyond just that person standing in front doing something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like anything's possible in
Mm-hmm.
intention.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't know. Yeah, I love that. So can you talk about, please, how Reiki has enriched your personal life, like your personal growth, your own spiritual growth?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, I use Reiki every day, like just putting my hands on my body, just from the top all the way down. And I mean, it's enriched my life just by being a way to maintain this connection with myself and with spirit, with source. And I mean, that's a very big gift, to have that tool. So yeah, that's how it's enriched my life, just by giving me like this constant reminder of how I'm connected, to something greater than just this material world in front of me.
Yeah, I mean that's enormous because all visible, easily, readily perceivable evidence would have us believe otherwise, that the material is it. And Reiki really like very personally opens that door to that's this much of the picture, material. And it's, yeah, a lot. There's a lot more going on than that. I think Reiki is very powerful in unlocking that. And also, like you're saying, like being that reminder, that connection, like always
Mm-hmm.
within to everything, to the creator, to, your higher power, whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm getting a memory now of a more of a experience that I had when I first started attuning people. After I got my Reiki attunement, I I was visiting Israel again from New York, and I remember giving my first in-person attunement. Maybe it was my second one, and Dr. Usui came so strongly, and I could just feel his presence. And I remember my Reiki master teacher telling me that for him, Dr. Usui is present with every single attunement, like he feels him there. Um, and so when I did that attunement, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is his energy. This is so cool. And then I started, I was teaching a little bit first about the lineage of Reiki. And I suddenly started talking about this earthquake that was in Tokyo at the time of Usui's living, like a few years after he started teaching many students. And um, he and his students went to help all the survivors of that earthquake. I think it was 1920 something, something like that, or maybe 1918. I don't really remember. But all of a sudden, when I started telling that, I started seeing images of that. And it was like, oh my gosh, like I was just so touched, and also like feeling the pain of like everything that was happening. And I was like, wow, that was like such a big experience that he and the people, his students, and all the people of Tokyo and Japan were experiencing during that time. And I just saw how they were putting their hands on people, and like really helping them with Reiki, helping so many people. And I remember like crying, crying. Yeah, so that was definitely a profound experience. And then when I moved to Kauai, actually right after that, I moved to the island of Kauai. Then I discovered that Takata Sensei, the woman who's largely responsible for sharing Reiki with the West, that she had a clinic on Kauai, and she was born on Kauai as well. And so I definitely like could feel that presence there as well. And at the same time, a week after I arrived on Kauai, there was a celebration of the life of her granddaughter, Phyllis, who had passed like maybe the previous year or something like that. So I was just feeling the energy of Reiki so much on the islands, and kind of just amazed at how it spread largely from the Hawaiian Islands to the West when she started going to the mainland to teach people. That's really amazing to me.
Yeah, I just got chills so strong when you said that. It was like it's such a gateway to the West. Hawaii was, to actually like really making sure that Reiki like stayed alive and was passed on after World War One and Two, right? Two,
Mhm.
definitely.
Mhm.
And then making it beyond Japan.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, so essential. And what you're saying too, it really sounds like with Usui coming through when you were giving the attunements, like that like psychic impression was like shared with you like
Mhm.
while you were teaching about it and everything. Like
Yeah.
that's so amazing.
And you know what's really funny? In the beginning, I asked if Takata Sensei wanted to come through, and she goes, "No, not necessary." I was like, "Okay." That was really funny to me. It's like, "Okay, okay, got you." Right on. And I
Yeah.
heard she was a very like strong, like feisty, kind of conservative woman.
Right. She's good. She's at rest, or what, she's moved on to her next thing. But Usui, yeah, I feel very, very connected to Usui as well. Like he's definitely feels very invested still in
Mm.
Reiki, supporting us as we continue
Yeah.
developing the energy and sharing it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so beautiful. Um, how do you feel on the Big Island, like the connection with Reiki there as well? Since you're on the Big Island, I met you on the Big Island, and like
Yeah.
I find the Reiki very strongly connected there myself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious to hear what you have to say. For me, I haven't tuned into anything strongly that way, except my own inner calling to empower more, um, just like average families, like who are caretaking like their elderly parents or maybe someone who's sick in the home. Like that's my vision. I see like I have this vision or mission of Reiki for all. And so I tune in mostly to like just everyday Hawaiians and people just having this tool of Reiki and that it being much more commonplace. And again, that permission slip for people to sit, with another person and just be in that peaceful space and putting their hands on their body, making that connection and just allowing divine love to flow through and really I think a lot of miracles will come out of that, so it's also part of our collective awakening.
Yeah, Reiki for all. It's like every Reiki practitioner I talk to says that, some version of that, maybe different words. I mean, kind of, and not so much surprising, but I don't know, just consistent pattern. So, yeah, it's awesome to hear that for you as well, and like for like the more average person on like because it is for anybody, like it does not matter. you know Anyone who gives the permission, that's really that's it, is the permission being required. So yeah, I feel very inspired hearing that from you. And yeah, could you share about how Reiki has or is enriching your professional practice, like the coaching work and all the different service that you're involved in?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I started doing some online training for people who are interested in Reiki and want to attune to Reiki level 1 and 2. And I created something called Beyond Reiki, just to, yeah, I was just inspired to share Reiki in my way without being attached to just ideas of what it should be, how long it should take, how long it should cost, all of that, and just really tune into like how is the way that I'm called to develop it. So that's been a really fun like professional development, and it's been received well. Um, and another thing I'll say on the professional front is that I really like connecting with people who are drawn to Reiki. Like I feel like this Reiki is something that like it just brings people together in a very special way. And when I'm, even if I'm on Instagram and I see someone's a Reiki master, like I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I feel that resonance. Like, so I really feel that Reiki signature among all of us Reiki practitioners. And that's something that feels really good and something that I want to build on somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that as well. Like that it's some kind of it's like a point of attraction or like a filter. Like it yeah, it automatically attracts like really awesome people and like awesome connections. And it's, yeah, there's something about it, I think, bringing together community. And I mean, where we are right now on the planet too is like moving so much more towards this like Aquarian community, grassroots type of
Mhm,
um reorganization, you could say.
mhm,
And yeah, I'm really interested and called to that as well. It's like creating more Reiki community and yeah, just having it. I mean, that's part of the intention with this series too, is to get to talk to more and more Reiki people and
yes,
hear all the different stories and perspectives and unique ways we're each called to work with the energy.
yeah,
So yeah, I love that that's what you're doing too with Beyond Reiki. I love
mhm,
that name. It's very intriguing. Um, yeah, could you tell us more about how you're being guided to work with the energy and any yeah, just what's coming through that may be a little different than how you learned, or I guess is making Beyond Reiki in your work a little like authentic really for you.
mhm. Well, I keep feeling as you ask that question, the Reiki Master Symbol, um, that's been coming really strongly to me, the and just constantly emanating the Reiki Master Symbol, like from the center of my being. And so I would say I'm wanting to share with more people how we are masters of energy, like how simply by thinking of a symbol and everything that it contains, like boom, like instantly, like your whole field, your whole energetic field orients itself to resonate with that symbol and everything that is captured in that symbol. So for me, the symbol work is really fun because I just feel like it's a tool to help us engage with our mastery of the physical and non-physical realm. That's what comes to me. Yeah, and I just finished a little video that I shared as part of Beyond Reiki to help people practice with the symbols, and I created like a visual slide, and that was so much fun. So, yeah, I'm really into the symbols right now. Yeah.
I hear you. They are infinite. And yeah, what you're saying too, I think is such it is. It's like that next level mastery beyond just like Reiki's so much more than just laying on of hands and like, having some healing. Like it's this opportunity to really embody one's energetic mastery in the way that you're describing. And I think, yeah, that is where so much development
Mhm.
comes and infinite possibilities come in and really just starting to navigate a material world from a completely different orientation.
Mhm.
I think with
Mhm.
really amazing results too.
Mhm.
I
Yes. And also, what's so special about Reiki is also the Reiki precepts. Like, I feel like that's such an important thing to share with people and for them to understand that this is an integral part of Reiki. Like, just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not anger. Just for today, I will be humble. I will be diligent in my work. I'll be compassionate with myself and others, and just like, oh, that's such a guiding light. And it's so simple. And so I love that is embedded in the Reiki system. And I like to emphasize that too when I teach. Yeah. And even something as simple as Gassho, putting your two hands together, putting it over your heart, like that's just, it's just so, it's so healing and it's so balancing, especially for our Western world, like I just feel like it's like respect and remembering the heart,
Yeah.
and the two coming together. It's not, we don't do this very much in the West, but yet it was very, so much part of Asian culture.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, recent Asian past lives. Like, I love this. It's like, yeah, it's so centering. And I think people really need ways to just, I know I need ways to center myself on the spot. And something as simple as Gassho or just Reiki on is so practical for the world we live in right now, and how much stress people are really being exposed to in a lot of
Mhm.
different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel that Reiki was destined and is destined to be a part of supporting the shift, And when it came through Japan, through, Dr. Usui, I think it was set on this pathway to, like, become a global thing. And reading about Reiki, I learned that Reiki, just that term Reiki, was not at all unique to Dr. Usui. He called his system the Usui system of Reiki, but there were other systems of Reiki too. But because Reiki didn't have I really feel that Usui was bringing forth a new, I don't know if we can call it a lineage or something that the planet was ready for at that time to evolve in the way that it has. Mm.
Yeah, the specific, I'm wanting to say energy, but I'm hearing your teacher's voice in my head. The first teacher. But yeah, like that specific frequency of the
Mhm.
divine, because yeah, in my training, um, I learned that, yeah, he knew it immediately as Reiki, but like at that time in Japan, like saying Reiki was just like saying God or like the divine or something like that. But what he received was like that specific frequency, like that specific ray, like transmittable, like identifiable life force energy. Yeah. Yeah. So profound.
Yeah. And another thing I want to say about the variations of Reiki, um, like what makes me feel very much able to and wanting to evolve Reiki, is knowing that the Reiki that most Americans and Westerners know now is actually very specific to Takata sensei, the Japanese woman, So it evolved, and at that time, she kind of concretized it in a certain way. And that's what happened to gain popularity among many people, and then it was passed down to many, and then it's evolved like out of that. But like no one has a ownership over this. There's no right or wrong way.
It's infinite, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate. My first training was with Holy Fire lineage, and I learned like right away, like that Usui had said, like the most important thing is to keep developing the energy, like keep refining it and increasing one's ability
Mm-hmm.
to to be a channel, like how much you can channel and the quality you can channel. So I learned that from the beginning, that he had said that in a historical record, that basically like go I did this much, like
Right.
keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are and people have, and yeah, I think that's like it keeps adjusting based on what we need right now and what each practitioner is like, or what each master is like really asking for, because we each have like unique prayers and backgrounds and
Mm-hmm.
everything else. Like it can meet anybody
Mm-hmm.
in so many different ways, and they're all beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So beautiful. What would you say to someone who's totally new to Reiki and is still listening to this conversation?
New to Reiki. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Wow. Hmm. Well, just follow your calling, whatever you feel the next step is for you. You want to go get training right away and get attunement, go for it. If you want to seek out a Reiki practitioner, Reiki master, do that. Yeah, those are kind of the two avenues that would be obvious as next steps. Yeah, and then trust, really just tune into Reiki even before maybe you're tuned, and then just let it guide you to the right resources, right people. And that's going to open up such a beautiful journey. Yeah.
Absolutely. What would you say to someone who is already a Reiki practitioner and is wanting to deepen their their Reiki path, whatever that path may look like for them?
Mhm. Well, I definitely feel that there's a lot of people who are tuned to Reiki on our planet that um, are not keeping it juicy and alive. Like they're not really using it. They're not really, putting their hands on their body and like feeling Reiki and like connecting with Reiki. So I would say for those people, if you don't really feel a strong connection to Reiki, even though you've been attuned maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago, something like that, then just put your hands on your body and connect with Reiki, and just really start feeling what your unique relationship is with Reiki. And I like to reattune people to Reiki. So, like through Beyond Reiki, there was a few people who, had already been attuned many years ago, or not, maybe even not that long ago, but it just wasn't clicking. It was just, they weren't using it, So, Reiki can always come back into your life at the right time and be revived. And yeah. So I would just say use it. It's meant to be used. It's not something to sit in the brain. It's definitely a living system for us, for humanity, to remind us of love.
I love that. Yeah, and I mean it's only getting stronger. I mean, that's my experience, definitely, and with others, like you're saying, if someone's watching and they have attunements and they're like, what are they talking about? Like, it's not like that for me. Like, definitely consider, I echo what you say, consider taking another class, getting another set of attunements, even working with a different lineage, or trying any kind of developing training.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really incredible where the energy is now,
Mhm.
I
Yes,
think.
yes.
Yeah.
And the only other lineage beyond the traditional Usui lineage that I connected with is Sikkim. Have you heard of Sikkim?
Say a bit about what that one is.
Eichem, Sikkim. So this was purely synchronicity and like, divine guidance to connect with this woman just that I met on Instagram, but boom, like that resonance and that kinship. And somehow, I don't even know how it happened. We just started talking and I just knew I wanted to receive attunement from her in the lineage that she practices, which is the Sikkim lineage, and that one added three other symbols, and sort of like, I don't even know what you would call it, because beyond symbols, it's like it was one for water, one for air, and fire. So there was hand movements and the word. It was hand movements and the word. And so it added the fire element, water element, and air element. And in that system, the Reiki and the chakra especially is representing earth, So this was another expansion. And that was so beautiful to receive too, and then I had just an expansion of Reiki, just more specific ways to work with that energy. So also, yeah, if you're called to like learn from different lineages, different practitioners, definitely trust that calling too. It's so enriching.
Is that the Egyptian one? Or am
Yeah,
I thinking?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Whoever received that one received it in, I think, the King's Chamber, one of the pyramids in Egypt. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Just follow the Reiki synchronicities.
Mhm.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Be open.
Mhm.
Be open to them.
Mhm.
Well, you've told us about your offerings already a bit. So you're offering the Beyond Reiki, which is a type of training. Are there any other services or offerings you would like to share with people today?
Yeah. I'm also doing one-on-one coaching journeys with people, especially those who I connect with the new earth vision and feel that they're here, for a purpose, usually very sensitive people, who are wanting to step into just mastery level, so it's really an empowerment journey. So I like to work one-on-one with people through for a series of sessions. Usually about 3 months we work together. So I love doing that. And I'm in the process of developing a school called the New Earth Wayshower School. So I'm not sure if that's going to be ready December or January, but yeah, that's another project I'm working on.
So beautiful. So
Mhm.
exciting. I love that. And yes, Lyra's information will be down in the description below, as well as the last part of this video. If you could just say, what is your website
My
and your
website is stephanielyralin.com. And that's also my Instagram handle, Stephanie Lyra Lin.
perfect. Well, are there any other, like, if you had one message you could get out to the world right now?
Touch yourself. Yourself with love. And Reiki is, the way to do that. The ultimate way, a great way to do that.
Absolutely. Yes, allow Reiki to touch you. Touch your heart. So beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Lyra, for your time and sharing your beautiful perspective. It was a joy to connect with you. Really appreciate you and the work the service you're sharing with the world right now.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
Oh, amen. Namaste. And so it is.